Hello, Year 8, and today we are going to be looking at the answers to the probability mini test. I'd like you to pay attention to the instructions in this video. As I'm going through all of the questions, I expect you to mark this with a different coloured pen. For questions that you've got wrong, I don't just want to see a cross, I want to see my full solution written into your book, either at the side where you've done the question or on the mini test sheet if you've managed to print it out. So use this feedback wisely. If at any point you are not sure how many marks to allocate you, then remember in the second half of this lesson, I will be in a drop-in meeting channel where you can ask some questions. So looking at question number 1, it says look at the following spinner, calculate the following outcomes. And we have probability notation, so it says the probability of an even number. So if we just have a look at our spinner, which is split into 10 sections, we have 1, 2, 3 even numbers, and it asks for this answer as a fraction, so that is 3/10. For B, it asks what is the probability of a number and this inequality is greater than 5, give your answer as a decimal. So what numbers are greater than 5? Well, it's these ones here, and there are 5 of them out of 10, 5/10, but as a decimal has to be 0.5. So if you've written 5/10, I'm afraid that would be marked wrong because you have not done a decimal. Finally, part 3, a prime number. So 1 is not prime. Remember, a prime number is a number that has exactly 2 factors, 1 in itself. 2 is prime, 5 is prime, 7 is prime. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 10, and that is 40%. This is nice and easy to mark. It is 1 mark for each question. Question number 2, it says for each question, list all the possible outcomes. The first and second place positions for a race with Alice, Ben, and Claire. Okay, so we could have Alice come in first and Ben come in second, or Alice come in first and Claire come in second, and so on. All the different combinations with different people coming first and second. And there are 6 outcomes. Now you can't have things like AA in this example because Alice can't come first and second. So it's combinations of 2 different letters in all of the different orders. There's 4 marks for this question. There's 1 mark for showing me some sort of list, even if you do not get all the exact combinations. And the second mark is for 6. Okay, B says 2 scoops of ice cream chosen from vanilla, strawberry and chocolate. Now this is different from A because you can pick 2 of the same flavour. So you can have vanilla and vanilla, vanilla and strawberry, vanilla and chocolate. You can have strawberry and strawberry, strawberry with vanilla, strawberry with chocolate, and then you can have chocolate with chocolate, chocolate with vanilla, and chocolate with strawberry. So there are 9 outcomes. However, we might then get into the argument that a vanilla and a strawberry ice cream is the same as a strawberry and a vanilla ice cream. And we might argue that a vanilla and a chocolate ice cream is the same as a chocolate and vanilla ice cream. And we might also argue that a strawberry and a chocolate ice cream is the same as a chocolate and a strawberry. And if you're going to argue that, then I am going to let you have the answer 6 as well. Okay, So I'm going to accept two different answers here, 9 or 6. It all depends. And if you want me to go into a little bit more explanation, if it was a bowl of ice cream with a chocolate and a vanilla, then I would say that is the same as a bowl of ice cream with a chocolate and a vanilla in the other order. However, if you had an ice cream cone with 2 scoops like that one chocolate and vanilla, this one chocolate and vanilla, you might argue that they're different. And that's why I'm going to accept both answers here. For question 3, it says complete the sample space diagram for when 2 dice are rolled and their numbers are multiplied. Now, we did an example like this in our lesson where we added. So I hope you've multiplied. I've already started the table for you. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 marks if you get all of this right in the table. Should be 2 nice easy marks. If you've made 1 or 2 mistakes, I will let you have 1 mark. But we should have the 3 times table down here, 9, 12, 15, 18. The 4 times table here, 12, 16, 20, 24. 5 times table. And the 6 times table. So 2 marks if you've got all of that table right. Now, this is where we're going to get into a little bit of sticky water about the other marks, because if your table is wrong, then your answers are going to be wrong, and that might be a question that you want to ask me later on. It might be that I need to see your working out to see how many marks I'm going to give you. So the probability of an odd number, if you count up all of the odd numbers in here, there's going to be out of 36, and there are 9 of them that are odd. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 9 out of 36 is going to get you 1 mark, but I've said give answers as fractions in their simplest form. And that cancels to a quarter. So if you've put 9 out of 36, you would get 1 mark. If you've got the answer a quarter, you would get 2 marks. So obviously, if you've written both, you don't get 3 marks, you get a maximum of 2 marks. So part B, the probability of a multiple of 3. Well, where are the multiples of 3? It's all in the 3 times table column. It's all in the 6 times table column. And likewise across there and there, but we don't count some of them twice. So if you count up how many are now highlighted, you will find that there are 20. So this is 20 out of 36. Again, that's 1 mark, but that cancels. Both of these divide by 4. It's 5/9 for 2 marks. So 20 over 36, 1 mark. If you've cancelled it to 5/9, 2 marks. And finally, the factors of 100. So numbers that divide 100 exactly. And the numbers that divide 100 exactly, well, 1, 2, 4, 5 do. 10 does as well. Nothing in the 3 column. In the 4 column, we've got 4 does, 20 does. In the 5 column, it's 5, 10, 20, 25, and nothing in the 6 column. There are 13 out of the 36. Now that number doesn't cancel, that is just worth 1 mark. So that is 7 marks in total. Question 4 is all about mutually exclusive events. Now remember, if something cannot happen at the same time, it is mutually exclusive. If it isn't mutually exclusive, you can find a case where it happens at the same time. So for question 4, decide if the events are mutually exclusive or not. Event A, event B, we've got rolling an odd number, rolling a 3. Well, 3 is odd, so that can happen at the same time, so it is not mutually exclusive. For B, we've got event A is a club. and B is a red card. Well, a club is a black card. So you cannot get a club and a red card at the same time. So that is mutually exclusive. It cannot happen at the same time. And finally, event C, scoring a goal in a hockey match and losing a hockey match. Okay, that can happen at the same time. Suppose you scored 1 goal, but your opposing team scored 3. You've scored a goal, but you have still lost. It can happen at the same time. It is not mutually exclusive. Nice and easy to mark that question. It is 1 mark for each correct answer. Question 5, we've got a frequency tree to complete. Again, there's the potential to get 1 or 2 things wrong, so I'm going to show you how we're going to allocate the 5 marks in this question. There are 80 students in Year 8. All 80 students take part in one activity during their PE lesson. 39 of the 80 students are male. The same number of students play cricket as hockey. 11 of the 18 students playing tennis are female. 3 more boys than girls play cricket. Okay, it's where to start on this one, and where you start is the 11 of the 18 students playing tennis are female. Because what that tells me is the number of people playing tennis is 18. And 11 of them are female, so male is 7. So I'm going to allocate 1 mark if you have got that section all correct. Where I'm going to jump in now, it says the same number of students play cricket as hockey. So these 2 numbers here need to be the same, and all of these numbers need to add up to 80 for the 80 students. So if I've already used 18, these have to add up to 62. 62 out of 18 is 80, but they need to be the same. So both of these numbers need to be 31. And that is where your second mark is going to kick in. Next, I'm going to do 3 more boys than girls play cricket. So how can you split the 31 that are playing cricket and still satisfy that? Well, the way that we get that to work is we need 17 and 14. They add up to 31, and there's 3 more boys than girls. The easiest way to do that was to just crunch a few numbers. That is going to be your 3rd mark. Finally, what's the bit of information that I've not used? It's the fact that 39 are male. Well, I've already allocated 17 and 7. That's 24 males. So there must be 15 further males, and that must be 16, because these need to add up to 31. I pick a student at random. What is the probability they are a female cricketer? It is 14 out of 80. You might have simplified that to 7/40ths, but I'm happy for that to be the 5th and final mark. So just to go over the marks again, there is 1 mark for each section that I've put in a box that you have got correct. Question number 6 to do with Venn diagrams. It says the Venn diagram shows the number of people who own a PlayStation 5 or a Nintendo Switch. A person is picked at random. What is the probability they own a Nintendo Switch? Okay, now I think there's going to be a lot of people that have put 7 for the numerator. However, there are 10 people that own a Switch. Okay, the 7 here plus the 3 that also own the PlayStation. What is it out of? Well, altogether, it is out of what all these numbers add up to, 30. And the way that I'm going to break down these marks today is there is going to be 1 mark if your fraction has a 10 on the numerator, and another mark if you have got a fraction with a 30 on the denominator. Obviously, you might have cancelled this down to a third, and if you've got a third, that is automatically 2 marks. But have a look. Is your numerator 10? 1 mark. Is your denominator 30? 1 mark. So if you, for example, have put 7 out of 30, you will still get 1 mark because your denominator is 30. Let's look at the other Venn diagram. There are 120 students in year 11, and we need to populate the Venn diagram with French and Spanish. 15 students study French and Spanish. That is the intersection. 42 students only study French. That's this section here. 27 students do not study a language. They are on the outside. What must go here? Well, it is whatever is left for the 120 students. So if we add what we've got, 40, 50, 60, 70, 84, I think that is 36. A student is picked at random. What is the probability they only study Spanish? So it's 36 out of 120. Not too bothered about whether you've cancelled it down, but that is the same as 3/10 dividing by 12. So how we're going to allocate the marks? Okay, well, we're going to do something quite interesting here. We're going to have 2 marks for the Venn diagram. So if your Venn diagram is completely correct, you can give yourself 2 marks. What I am going to say is if your Venn diagram, and you must include the 27, if your Venn diagram has 2 numbers in the right place, you may have 1 mark. And finally, for this answer here, I'm going to accept a mistake mark. So whatever number you have here over 120 is going to be correct. So if I'd accidentally put the number 27 here, and I put for my answer here 27 over 120, I would get that mark. I'd probably get 1 mark for partially my Venn diagram being correct. Okay, so if you're not sure again how many marks to allocate yourself there, for the Venn diagram it's 2 marks. If you've got maybe 1 or 2 mistakes, give yourself 1 mark. And for this part, as long as it's that number over 120, you can have the mark. Question 7 asks us to match the shaded diagram to the correct set notation. This is nice and easy to mark because it's 1 correct mark for each answer. Obviously, I gave you a couple of extra choices on the right, so there's a few distractors there. So A, B with the intersection shaded in. Now remember, intersection is the one that looks like an N. So that joins to there. A and B all coloured in. It's the union. So that one should join to the top. And then this one shaded in is everything that is not in A. And that is the complement of A, which is A with a dash. And finally, question 8 is to do with relative frequency. Hope asked 30 students what their favourite subject was at school. The table shows the results. Use the table to estimate the probability that the next student that she asked favourite subject would be PE. So we look at the table, and for PE, it was 11 out of 30 students. For maths, it is 5 out of 30 students. You may have simplified that to 1/6. For C, it says not science. Well, science is 5 out of the 30, so not science would be 25 out of 30. And that you may have simplified to 5/6. So that's nice and straightforward. It is 1 mark for each of those answers. It says, explain how Hope could improve her estimated probabilities. And we know The more times that you do something, the better or more reliable your results. So she needs to ask more students or collect more results. Something that basically implies more. And that would be worth the final mark. So 1 mark for each of those questions, please. So can I remind you, you need to go to the feedback sheet, and these instructions are also on the instruction sheet for the week. You need to complete your student comment. Try and explain what went well, what didn't go so well, what you could do differently. There's also a box there if your parents wish to write a comment. Now this needs to be done using the Word document, so you need to complete the student comment and ask a parent if they wish to add anything. Please remember to upload images of your mini test and your Word document to your assignment this week, otherwise your teacher will struggle to fill in their section. Do remember that for the other half of this lesson, I am available in the drop-in meetings area if you have any questions that you need to ask or you are not sure how to allocate your marks.